Hello, welcome back to DevOps Invent. We will continue to discuss about top Azure Data Factory interview questions and answers 2023. Q7. What are the steps involved in creating the ETL process in Data Factory? Consider an instance where you attempt to retrieve any data from an SQL database. If any data has to be processed, it goes through processing before going to Azure Data Lake Store, where it is saved. The steps to create ETL are given here. Imagine we are using a dataset of cars. Start by creating a linked service for SQL Server database or any store of source data. After this, you need a linked service for the data lake store, which is your destination store. Make a data-saving dataset next. Set up your pipeline, then add the copy activity. In the end, insert a trigger and schedule your pipeline. Q8. How many types of triggers does Data Factory support? There are 3 trigger types supported in ADF. These are tumbling window trigger. This trigger helps execute ADF pipelines over cyclic intervals. A tumbling window trigger maintains the state of the pipeline. Schedule trigger. This trigger helps execute ADF pipelines that follow the wall clock timetable. Event-based trigger. This trigger enables a response to any event related to blob storage. Examples of events could be when you add or delete blob storage. Q9. How can you make Azure functions? An Azure function is a solution to implement small function lines or code within a cloud environment. Using Azure Functions, you can choose programming languages of your choice. Users only pay for the first time they run the code, meaning a pay-per-use model is implemented. Functions support a diverse range of languages such as C#, F#, Java, PHP, Python and Node.js. Additionally, Azure Functions also support consistent integration and deployment. Businesses can develop applications that don't need servers by using the applications of Azure Functions. Q11. List the step through which you can access data using the 80 types of datasets in Azure Data Factory. In its current version, the MDF functionality, mapping data flow, permits SQL Data Warehouse, SQL database, and Parquet and text files stored in Azure Blob Storage and Data Lake Storage Gen 2 natively for source and sync. You can use the copy activity functionality to access data from any supplementary connector. After this, you must also run an Azure Data Flow activity to transform the data efficiently after the staging is complete. Q12. What are the requirements you should meet to execute an AdSys package? To execute an sys package in Azure Data Factory, you must create an sys catalog and sys here, hosted in Microsoft Azure SQL database or managed instance. Q13. What is a dataset in Azure Data Factory? A dataset refers to data you can use in potential pipeline activities as outputs or inputs. Typically, a dataset is the structure of the data within linked stores of data such as files, documents and folders. For example, a Microsoft Azure Blob Storage dataset can describe a folder and the container within Blob Storage from which particular pipeline activities should read data as processing input. Q14. What is the objective of Microsoft Azure's Data Factory service? The primary objective of Data Factory is organizing data copying among multiple non-relational and relational sources of data locally hosted within enterprise data centers or cloud platforms. Additionally, Data Factory service is also useful for transforming ingested data and fulfilling business objectives. In a typical big data solution, Data Factory service plays the role of an ETL or ETL tool that allows data ingestion. Q15. In Microsoft Azure Data Factory, what is the difference between mapping and wrangling data flows? Mapping data flow activities refer to visually designed data transformation. Mapping data flows allow you to graphically design data transformation logic effectively when an expert developer is not present. Additionally, mapping data flows are operated as activities within the Data Factory pipeline on fully managed Data Factory Spark clusters. Wrangling data flow activities denote data preparation activities that don't require code. A wrangling data flow can integrate with Power Query Online to enable access to Power Query M functions to wrangle data via Spark implementation. Q16. What do you know about Microsoft Azure Databricks? Databricks refer to a quick, mutual and easy platform based on Apache Spark and optimized for Microsoft Azure. Databricks has been designed in collaboration with the Apache Spark founders. Additionally, Databricks combines the best features of Azure and Databricks to help users accelerate innovation through a faster setup. Business analysts, data scientists and data engineers can work together more easily through these smooth workflows, making for an interactive workspace. Q17. What SQL data warehouse?